There's a truth about human relationships most people avoid because it sounds cold. But the older you get, the more undeniable it becomes. The strongest relationships in life are not built on emotion alone. They are built on structure. Because feelings change, moods change, circumstances change, but systems shape behavior long after emotion fades. One of the hardest truths about adulthood is realizing that relationships are rarely held together by emotion alone. Not friendships, not partnerships, not businesses, not even families sometimes. Because emotions are unstable, people change, needs change, goals change, pressure changes people, and when reality collides with emotion, human nature reveals itself. That doesn't make people evil. It makes them human. Most people grow up believing relationships survive because of sincerity. But powerful people understand something deeper. Long-term relationships survive because of structure, shared incentives, mutual dependency, aligned interests, psychological investment. This is not manipulation. This is social architecture. And once you understand this, you stop depending entirely on feelings and start understanding systems. Today, we're breaking down 15 psychological principles behind strong human alliances, loyalty, and long-term influence, not so you can control people, but so you can stop misunderstanding human nature. 1. Shared profit creates shared protection. One of the strongest forms of loyalty is economic participation. A salary creates compliance. Ownership creates emotional investment. This is why elite companies often offer stock options instead of only wages. Because the moment people feel connected to future upside, their psychology changes. They stop thinking like workers. They start thinking like protectors of the system. People fight harder for what they partially own, not for someone else's dream. 2. External pressure unifies people.
Humans naturally divide internally until an outside threat appears. Then suddenly, small internal conflicts become irrelevant. History repeatedly proves this.
Groups unite fastest when they share a common challenge. This is why powerful leaders constantly clarify mission and direction, not through paranoia, not through fake enemies, but through shared focus. Because when people move toward the same target, internal chaos decreases. Direction creates cohesion. 3. Status is more powerful than most people realize. Many people assume everyone is primarily motivated by money. Not true. A surprising number of people are driven by significance, recognition, identity, status, importance. Give someone responsibility, a meaningful title, visible trust, and they often become psychologically attached to the role itself. Humans protect identities they emotionally invest in. Sometimes people defend status harder than income, because status shapes self-worth. 4. Investment changes human psychology. The more someone sacrifices for something, the harder it becomes to walk away from it. Time, energy, emotion, money. This is one of the oldest psychological patterns in human behavior. People struggle to abandon what they've deeply invested into. Not always because the situation is good, but because admitting loss feels painful. This is why participation creates stronger loyalty than passive involvement. The moment someone helps build something, they begin defending it emotionally. 5. Shared vulnerability creates invisible bonds. There's something psychologically powerful about mutual trust, especially when risk is involved. When two people share private truths, difficult experiences, or vulnerable moments, an invisible alliance often forms, not through fear, through emotional exposure. Weak people use secrets as blackmail. Intelligent people use trust as glue. And trust built through vulnerability is often stronger than forced obedience. 6. People never forget who helped them during hard times. Timing matters more than frequency. A single meaningful act during someone's darkest moment can outweigh years of casual interaction. Why? Because human memory is emotional. People remember who appeared when life became difficult. But there's nuance here. Too much help can create discomfort, dependency, even resentment. The highest form of generosity is strategic timing. not constant rescuing. 7. Information is a form of power. People naturally trust valuable information sources, especially exclusive ones. When someone consistently provides insight, opportunity, clarity, or access, they slowly become psychologically important. This is how influence quietly forms, not through force, through relevance. The person closest to valuable information often gains invisible authority, because humans rely on what helps them navigate uncertainty. 8. People protect systems that protect their families. An individual may take risks for themselves, but family changes human psychology. The moment someone's children, partner, or long-term security becomes connected to a system, their loyalty often deepens, because now the stakes feel larger than personal ambition. But there's an important distinction.
Healthy structure is not emotional captivity. The strongest long-term systems create mutual benefit, not emotional imprisonment. 9. Public recognition shapes identity.
Humans unconsciously become attached to labels repeated publicly. The trusted one, the reliable one, the key person. Once social identity forms, people often begin behaving in alignment with it. This is a deep psychological phenomenon. Public recognition creates internal pressure to maintain consistency, and consistency becomes behavior. This is why great leaders understand the power of strategic praise, not flattery. Identity reinforcement. 10. The strongest relationships are built on mutual need. Dependency alone is dangerous. Mutual value is powerful. The healthiest strategic relationships are not parasitic. They are complementary. One person brings vision, another brings execution. One controls resources, another controls expertise. And together, both become stronger than either would alone. That is not weakness. That is ecosystem thinking. Real power networks are built on interdependence. 11. Respect requires both warmth and boundaries. Human beings are psychologically complex. People admire kindness, but they also respect strength. Too much softness creates entitlement. Too much force creates resentment. The balance matters. Strong leaders know how to create both trust and consequences, both reward and standards. Because structure without humanity becomes tyranny, but humanity without structure becomes chaos. 12. Repeated identity shapes behavior. People slowly become the roles they repeatedly hear themselves described as. This is why strategic communicators reinforce identity carefully. Core member, trusted partner, leader, essential contributor. Words influence self-perception, and self-perception influences action. The labels people emotionally accept often become the behaviors they unconsciously perform. 13. Scarcity increases psychological attachment. Humans value what feels difficult to access. Exclusive circles, private groups, rare opportunities. Scarcity creates emotional attachment because people associate exclusivity with value. This is why elite institutions, luxury brands, and high-status networks all carefully protect access. People instinctively protect identities that feel rare. Privilege can quietly become a psychological chain. 14. Generosity creates psychological gravity. Most people enter relationships trying to maximize immediate gain. Strategic people think differently. Sometimes giving first creates far greater long-term influence. Humans naturally dislike feeling indebted, and genuine generosity often creates emotional memory stronger than negotiation alone. But intelligent generosity is important. Giving without wisdom attracts exploitation. Giving with discernment creates loyalty. 15. Shared risk creates deep alliances. Nothing bonds people faster than shared uncertainty. When people survive difficulty together, trust accelerates. Not because struggle is romantic, but because shared risk reveals character. However, mature systems do not create artificial danger to force loyalty. The strongest structures are built openly, with aligned incentives, mutual protection, and transparent value, not manipulation hidden in shadows. Most people misunderstand loyalty. They think loyalty comes from promises. But promises are emotional. Structure is behavioral, and behavior is what ultimately shapes reality. This is why emotionally intelligent people stop testing human nature through blind trust. Instead, they build relationships where interests align, value flows both ways. Respect is mutual. Incentives support stability. Because feelings alone are unstable fuel, and relationships built only on emotion often collapse under pressure.
In the adult world, lasting connection requires architecture, not fantasy. Remember this: emotion may ignite relationships, but structure determines whether they survive.
If this video changed how you see loyalty, influence, and human behavior, subscribe for more deep insights into psychology, strategy, power dynamics, and modern social intelligence.